Hello everybody, welcome back to another live stream. Welcome. My name is Melanie Josephine. I am the award-winning author of Actually, I'm not the award-winning author of Rockyopeia. I'm the award-winning author of Love Life Simplified, but I did also write Rockyopeia, but doesn't have an award. Today, we are going to talk about something super exciting. I've changed the title a little bit at the last minute. I made this how I am actively changing my life in 2021 and how you can do too. Welcome, and so excited that you're here with me. And if you have any questions, you can always write in the chat, or if you're watching the replay, you can always leave me a comment below. I'd also be super excited to know what sort of New Year's resolutions you have, or what sort of rituals you have between the old year and the new year, and how you are starting. Welcome everybody who's here live with me. That's so exciting. Yeah, so this year I am bringing some things into the new year that I'm continuing, that I have been doing because I am a somewhat organized person, I would say, but I am also bringing a couple of new things on board. Let's talk about the new things first. So one of the new things is that this year I want to be a bit more minimalistic. I probably am not going to turn into a minimalist, but I just don't want to accumulate things that I don't really need, because what happens is that they just pile up and they just end up in a corner. And if you could look around me, like I have so much stuff and I literally don't know where to put it. And so I just simply, like, when it comes to my birthday or the next Christmas or whatever occasion, I'm going to tell people what's on my wish list, and I'm going to tell them that I want to keep things very simple this year, and I just don't want to accumulate too many things. That's actually super new. I've never done that in any of my years. I did read I think it's Marie Kondo, isn't it? If you haven't watched her Netflix series about getting organized in your house and cleaning up and everything, I definitely recommend you watch that. I also read her book, but I actually only implemented a little bit of her strategies. Implemented a little bit of her strategies into my life. So yeah. One big thing that I want to share with you in this live stream is that I am committing to one of the SDS challenges. SDS is Self-Coaching Scholars. Even though I've left the program, like all of December, I prepared the challenge for the new year, and it's called Goal Challenge. And what you do in the Impossible Goal Challenge, and you can let me know. What happens is easy, but mostly, it's called the Impossible Goal Challenge. But you are kind of building the muscle of not being afraid to fail, because the truth to success is that you fail your way all the way to success. There is a need to have some failures, learn from your failures, even though nobody likes failures, nobody likes rejection. And there are some of the things on my list that I really am not looking forward to doing. But I have discussed this with my coach already, and it's all about making this fun and exciting. And yeah, so this is a new thing that I'm doing in 2021. And I am also, let me see. Okay, so I'm going to organize myself a little bit differently this year. I think it's actually mainly to be able to see this challenge through, because I think otherwise probably I would not manage to see it through. So what I used to do is just write a to-do list, and then I would look at it, I would check some things off, mainly the things that I had to do. And then there were always some things that would stay on there because I would just procrastinate on those. So what I do now I've created a schedule on my computer. I'm not actually writing it down on paper anymore. I do still have my small calendar. Now, I don't know where I put my 221. Basically, this calendar for 221, the small one for my handbag, I always put all my, this is from Rimmon, by the way. I always put all of my dates in there, but when it comes to like all of the daily tasks, that's too small. When it comes to like all of the daily tasks, that's too small. So this is mainly for like appointments and dates and birthdays and stuff like that. When it comes to like all of the daily tasks, that's too small. So this is mainly for like appointments and dates and birthdays and stuff like that. And then when it comes to the weekly schedule on a Sunday night, it's really up to you. You can do. I like to do it on Sunday evenings. I take my of the day between 9 and 10 p.m. This doesn't mean that I'm going to work until 10 p.m. This is just so that I can fit everything in that I want to fit in there. And then everything that is in that calendar that I've just shown you, everything that is in that calendar that I've just shown you, I put all the dates from that week into that weekly schedule, and then I add to that. I look on my to-do list and I decide what I want to put into my weekly calendar from my to-do list. And when I do that, that gives me the confidence that that definitely gets done. So I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to, I'm building that trust with myself. I don't have to worry about that. That may not get done. So that's a new thing. I haven't done that before, and I've been doing this now, and I'm going to continue to do that. And that way, a lot of things that I would otherwise procrastinate on are going to get done. But I'm still learning in this process. So for example, this week, if I see that I put too much on one day and I can see, oh, okay, Thursday and Friday, I don't have that much on my calendar yet, then I move things around. And I just adjust to whatever works for me. So then I'm going to continue with the monthly reviews, and I already have sugar and coffee, and oh, there's actually one new thing. I don't know if I can actually manage to get through this through the whole quarter. Every morning, this is something I've been meaning to do, but I haven't. I've put this on my goal list for this year, and I'm going to do this every day now. So my impossible goal of this year, every morning I'm going to write it down. I have my scripting book. I didn't start a new book for this because I don't think that this is necessary, but I have my scripting book, and every single morning before I do the thing that I was going to say next, meditating. So I'm writing down my goal. I get up, I write down my goal, I meditate, and then I have breakfast. Obviously, you choose with me. And then you might ask yourself, how can you achieve your goals? I mean, what we always struggle with is sticking to the goal. It's not so much creating the goal, it's sticking it out to the end and really believing in it. And I recently saw a very good video on how you can stick to your goal, and it is all about the why. And I've heard this before, and I know that there's this book, I forgot the author actually, but there's this book about this as well, that when you know your why, that you're much more likely to see it through. But this lady took it a step further, and I think that was really necessary for me to understand where this was coming from. And she said that ask yourself why you want to achieve this, and then ask yourself 5 times more. Because when it comes to the things that you need to do to actually achieve your goal, then you can easily say, oh, I don't feel like it, I'm tired today, this isn't working anyway. And so when it comes to these moments, it's really, really important that you either or you bring it back. The best, obviously, is if you can remember it and you can just always pull from it and you can remind yourself again and again and again. What if it's something, because we've talked about the impossible goal, what if it's something that is just, you just feel it is so impossible? That's basically what I do with my meditation every morning, is that I meditate on my goal, or I visualize on my goal. And that way I am starting to, like, one day at a time, I'm starting to believe more and more and more that this is actually possible. Because you may have heard this somewhere before, that a belief is just a thought that we keep thinking. And thoughts are mostly not. So we just make it up as we go along. We can make up anything. And so we can just wake up every morning before work or whatever you do in your day. And you, even if you just take 10 minutes in your day, like the Law of Attraction book that's just standing here in front of me, that book says you should do it 15 minutes a day. I'm doing my meditation 45 minutes a day. But it's, as long as it's, I think the most important thing is that it is continuous. And here's another thing: believe in your goal right now, like in percentage. And until he asked me that question, I wasn't aware of the answer that came out, because the answer that came out of my mouth that I wasn't aware of at all was 10%. So my belief in my goal was so low. And I couldn't believe it, to be honest. I couldn't believe my own belief. But she said, that's why we're doing this work leading up to January, already like in December 2020, so that when you start in January, you are at a different stage in your belief work. Now, I actually didn't start my meditation visualization until January, but I have now. And so I asked myself the same question this morning: how much do you believe in your goal now? And the answer was 50%. So I think it's pretty amazing that within a very small span of time, I was able to change my belief system this much. Because if you remember, belief or your thought is really where it starts, and it is what determines whether you're going to see something through. Because the only reason you actually don't believe that you're gonna be able to make it, that's mostly the reason actually, that you're not believing that you can achieve that goal, and that you may as well give up here, because why do all of these things for the goal if in the end you don't achieve it anyway? But the truth is, if you start with the belief work, if you, I wrote down, something else that I haven't done before, well, maybe that's not true, but I haven't done for a long time because I've been working so many weekends in the past year. So I'm not going to allow myself to work on weekends. So what I've done before is just, I had my to-do list, and then I would just do it whenever I feel like it. But that's kind of how I burnt myself out, and I didn't really have like enough proper downtime where I allowed myself to really do absolutely nothing and enjoy that. So now, I think what's going to happen, because I've created this Monday to Friday schedule and I have weekends off, I think what's going to happen is that on the weekend, I'm going to have some ideas, I'm going to have some things I want to do, because that's kind of what I'm used to. Like anything that you're used to, your brain kind of wants to continue what you're used to, because it'll always go with what's familiar, even if that's not serving you. So I, and maybe you, need to break that cycle. And So this is going to give me more motivation to actually see through with my schedule. Because what's happened before is that whenever I actually wrote a schedule, I kind of just halfway saw it through, because then I thought, oh, I have so much free time on the weekend, I can do some there. But I really, really want to make sure that on those weekends, I truly re-energize. And if you're halfway working, even if it's just a little bit, and you say to yourself, like I would say to myself, well, that's not very much, I can do that. But the truth is, you don't re-energize truly. I just had an idea. Maybe it's kind of like when you, let's take the iPhone. You off, and then you think, oh, that's fine, it works. But then obviously, if you were at 50%, you run down your charger much, much quicker than if you would have charged it at 100%. And that's kind of how we can think of ourselves. Like, if we only re-energize 50% on the weekend, because we're halfway everywhere doing the other on the other, and we're renewing our energy, then we run down much quicker, even though in that moment it doesn't seem that way. Because in that moment, unless you look at where you are with the recharge, here you can see it, here maybe you can't see it, but in that moment the phone works, you work. But that's another thing I'm going to do, and I am actually excited about that. Then I wrote down that I'm going to handle WhatsApp and social media differently. So actually, I haven't thought how I'm going to do it on weekends, but during the week, I can tell you what I've already been doing, and I'm going to continue to do that. So I've actually haven't, even last year, I'm not the kind of person who looks at their messages first thing in the morning, or news or social media, because I just don't think it's a good idea. But I've taken it a step further now. Not only am I not just not looking at it in the morning, but so when I have a lunch break, that's when I'm allowing myself to look at it if I want to. And then when I go back to work, I don't look at it. And then later in the day when I'm off again, then I look at it again. I haven't really put like a cap in the evenings. I know some people do that. But this is already working way, way better for me than what I've done before. Because what I've done before is that I've done this task and then that task, and then I check my messages, and then I check my email, and then I look at other things, and then I do this task. And that is draining. That's just not very good. And then, you know, when you get a message, you feel like you need to attend to that. It's the same as phone calls or emails. So I'm not getting that many emails right now, so I'm doing my emails on my break too. If I have like a whole lot of emails, maybe I need to schedule like some email time as well. But for the moment, this works really, really well for me, because I don't feel like, well, at the moment, to be honest, I still sometimes feel like I want to check my messages, but I haven't allowed myself to do that. And I think that just like with the sugar and the coffee, that that kind of craving is going to go away the longer since I've made this rule for myself. Oh, I also wrote down that I've done that a little bit, but I think I want to do that more. That I need to schedule more rewards in the evening. Like if there are YouTube videos, so if there's a YouTube video that I really, really want to watch, I actually schedule it after my day, or yeah, if I have like a FaceTime call, or if I see somebody, but at the moment we're not seeing many people, but generally to schedule rewards so that you have things to look forward to, but generally to schedule so that you have things to look forward to, and that can be anything that you feel is a reward. It doesn't have to be a piece of cake. You can also create like bigger rewards. Let's say you finish like a big project. You can think ahead of time, once you finish that big project, what you want your reward on that day to be. Actually, I think this is a brilliant idea, because I never really have done that before in the past. And I mean, you always get that feeling of relief or happiness when you finish something. But then I think we move on so quickly that we don't really stick with that. Like, for example, I celebrate my birthday very, very big, as you may know, because I've spoken about this before on this channel. But then when it comes to projects that I finish, or yeah, like, for example, that I finish with reward at the end of those days, which I really, well, there's no point saying I should have, but this is something definitely to take for the future, that this is something that I want to actually schedule in. So maybe you can take something from that as well. I also wrote down, I want to be more mindful with my time and with my energy, and I want to be more intentional and thankful. Now, I've also for last year, but I recently listened to a really, really amazing podcast episode by Manifestation Babe. She's really cool. And she was saying that whenever somebody buys her program and she gets a notification, then she thanks them energetically. Like, she doesn't write a message to them, but she just sits there for a moment. She thanks them. Or whenever she does an Instagram post or a YouTube video or whatever, she sends out an intention to the universe. And that is exactly what I actually for this live stream. I sent out an intention to the universe that this video will reach other people, that I'm implementing this into all of the little things that I'm doing. And yeah, so I'm really glad that I listened to that episode, because that was very, very interesting. I've never heard anybody say that before. The two things that I have been doing, do I have them here? Too many things on my desk right now, sorry. But I'm going to continue writing my third year. Like an evening where I just sit with a cup of tea and just do a little bit about my journey. Again, if you haven't gotten any of these books, I really recommend you get one. That's so fun. Well, I mean, it's super, super fun to have that, but not as I do. And he